Fantastic Fratesi as Inter Milan book their ticket to Munich. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel. And you thought the first leg was good. Well, the second leg said, hold my beer, because Barcelona and Inter Milan put on one of the great spectacles last night in the Champions League semi-final second leg. In the end, Inter Milan coming out 4-3 victors, meaning they go through 7-6 on aggregate across, for me, probably the best two-legged semi-final I've seen in the Champions League since I've started watching football. We had some chaos like the Ajax and Tottenham game, which was sort of down to a second leg type game. But this was two fantastic individual games that were grouped together to be a two-legged affair. You could have given me that first leg and I'd said that was game of the season, game of the year, game of the last 5 years. Like I said last time out, this one even topped it. And you've got them back-to-back, only a week apart, just absolutely ridiculous. These two teams, I was watching the CBS broadcast and I said, Thierry Henry said, it reinstilled my enjoyment of football yet again. That was the type of game we were blessed with in this one here. I've said it throughout the prediction videos, fire and ice, defense versus attack, counter-attack versus possession. It was the ultimate opposites, but it just came together to produce one of the great spectacles. Back and forth, momentum shifts. Inter Milan take the lead, Barcelona come back. Then Inter Milan equalise later on. A fantastic goal in extra time. Players absolutely out on their feet on the pitch. Players coming back from injury. Players playing through injuries. It added a lot. And overall, two great managers and two great sides. And I said it in the preview of the second leg. For me, 1A and 1B in terms of the best teams in European football. But they put on one hell of a game. And yes, many came in saying Barcelona would win their tie, Barcelona the better side. Well, in the end, they can't be too upset with themselves because they met an elite level side, Inter Milan, that had been to a Champions League final only 2 years ago. So I guess when we look back on this tie, there really is no losers. As much as Barcelona fans and their team can be disappointed, it was just one team was slightly better than the other. Two teams were fantastic. One team was really unlucky. But that's what we get in these classic Champions League ties. And as I said, we've seen some great Champions League late moments in semi-finals, mostly in second legs. But this one was so unique in the fact that it was so back and forth. Comebacks, advantages, momentum swings across 2 games. And it was over a long period of time, 210 minutes of back and forth type football. So it just made it absolutely ridiculous. You had individuals like Lautaro Martinez, Marcus Thuram clearly playing through injuries in this game here to get over the line for their side. You see managers like Hansi Flick and Simone Inzaghi marching up the touchline outside of their technical area. Massive challenges, massive blocks, big saves from keepers, individual pieces of brilliance from Inigo Martinez defensively. Jared Martin, a substitute fullback coming in and saving the day for Barcelona in the second half with 2 assists. It was just amazing. And as I said, the podcast will come out tomorrow. In this game here, players were poor, but no one was really, really bad. Everyone had their moments. Everyone took their opportunities. And what you saw was 30-plus players that produced some fantastic football over this 210 minutes of football. It was consistent effort, heart, intensity. Fans backed him in as well. It was the ultimate spectacle of football. And if you wanted to show anyone a match of football, you'd show them that there, because that was a great advertisement for the game and great advertisement for the Champions League as well. We'll slowly run through the game and I'll give you my thoughts throughout it. The game started as we expected, right? Inter Milan sitting back, that bank of 5 with a bank of 3 in front of it, and the 2 out balls, Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram, and Barcelona dominated possession, around 61% of the ball up until the half-hour mark. They really, really bossed it, but really couldn't break down this Inter Milan back line. There was a few half chances, a few opportunities for Dani Olmo, Lamine Yamal to potentially get shots off, but nothing of real dangerous intent for Jan Sommer, Acerbi, Bastoni or Bissek to really deal with. And I think they kept it quite quiet defensively. I think in the first leg, the back 5 for Inter Milan actually played better defensively than in the second leg. A few mistakes playing out from the back. I think Bastoni gave the ball away within the first minute to give Barcelona a chance to go forward. So it wasn't quite their best defensive work in this game, Inter Milan. Something that they're more known for, clean sheets, consistency, limiting mistakes. But early on, yes, they were doing well in their shape, but they weren't helping themselves for some poor giveaways playing out from the back. To be honest, the first real scare of the game came in the 14th minute. Marcus Thuram getting through one-on-one with Wojciech Szczesny to eventually be ruled offside in the end. But it was a real first chance we saw Inter Milan get at the high line, which they did so well in that first leg in transition on the counter-attack. And that'd be, once again, the theme of their game this one here would be to play quick once they won the ball back, get at this Barcelona back line and try and beat the high line before they had a chance to react. And I guess it was about catching Barcelona off balance. Many teams have tried this season and have failed. And I think the only real team that I've seen cause Barcelona these types of problems was Real Madrid in the Clásico for the first 15-20 minutes at the Bernabeu, where Kylian Mbappe, he struggled to stay onside, but was getting in behind more often than not. And obviously, he was caught offside in many different occasions. That's the difference between Inter Milan and that Real Madrid side, where Inter Milan were actually getting players in behind, but they were not offside. And it was clear that they were playing with intent and with directness. Again, a side that often plays very, very centrally in the league. They often like to keep it narrow, keep the ball in the centre of the park and get overlap wide players like wing-backs pushing on, but the emphasis is to play down the middle. I think that helps them coming into this game here versus a Barcelona side that, yes, keeps a high line, but it means they're two outballs, they're two centre forwards who are playing down the middle. They're used to sort of playing that direct style. They're used to playing those sort of long balls when they need to. And as such, it was getting in behind the Barcelona side at will in the early periods here. The opening goal would come through in the 21st minute. DiMarco won the ball high up the pitch, played through Denzel Dumfries, who squared the ball across to Lautaro Martinez to score in the 21st minute. Once again, though, pressing high up the pitch. A great win by DiMarco. But then yet again, it's DiMarco getting his head up and playing quickly. Once he won the ball, it was a direct pass straight away in behind the back line where Dumfries reacted first. He was the quickest to move to get in behind the back line, squared the ball across, and Lautaro Martinez, who was playing on one hamstring in this game here, found the back of the net to give Inter Milan, I think, a deserved lead in the 21st minute. They looked the most dangerous side when they went forward. They were fantastic in their defensive structure, and to that point in time, Barcelona had not really fired a shot to that point in time. Barella came close again just after that moment in time on a half volley. But then Barcelona would grow into the game. The half-hour mark for me is when they start to turn up the pressure. Dani Olmo missed a big chance in the 28th minute. He got a real opportunity high up the pitch, but they have a pulled shot wide off the target. Yamal was found through after Pedro on the ball. Lautaro Martinez fed the ball into Dani Olmo. He set up Lamine Yamal, the right winger, but he pulled his effort wide also. But with all that pressure building, it eventually fall apart because Inter Milan were given a penalty at the other end. Another counter-attack allowed Lautaro Martinez to once again be found in behind. Pau Gubassi appeared to take the ball cleanly through VAR inspection. It was clear he took out the standing foot there of Lautaro Martinez, meaning it was a penalty kick which was converted by Hakan Çalhanoğlu in the 45th minute. Something he's done so well this season was convert from the penalty spot, meaning into half-time, it was Inter Milan 2, Barcelona 0, and a big turnaround required for Barcelona, but something they did in the first leg, and they take that confidence into the second half. Eric Garcia pulled the first goal back for Barcelona. Gerard Martin getting his head up, getting a second ball into the box, and Garcia taking it on outrageously on the volley and placing his effort into the side netting in the 54th minute, meaning Barcelona had a foothold back in this game here, and it'd be a theme to come in the second half. Inter Milan's legs were tiring. Çalhanoğlu alongside Barella and company in the middle of the park were starting to get overrun. They looked a little bit tired. There was not the same pressing from Thuram and Lautaro Martinez as they were both like they were carrying some injuries, and it was really, really remarkable efforts defensively from the likes of Bastoni, Acerbi back there to try and keep it tight. And then Matteo Darmian, when he came on for Bisek, also keeping it compact, last-ditch challenges and keeping Barcelona at arm's length. Olmo had his moment in the second half, however. Once again, the ball in by Gerard Martin, finding the attacking midfield at the back post to head home in the 60th minute. For one of his rare positive influences this game here, he would find the back of the net with a header on the hour mark, meaning it was 2-2, and Barcelona had all the momentum. From there on in, Summer, he was the hero. A ridiculous save to deny Lamine Yamal in the 77th minute, but right at the end, it looked like Rafinha had won the game for Barcelona in the 87th minute, and the ball found its way to the left-hand side. His first shot parried by Summer, but straight back into the path of Rafinha. He was cool, calm, and composed, picked out his spot into the far corner and scored, and the limbs were fantastic. Barcelona believed they'd got it done, but it wasn't to be. Lamine Yamal thought he had the tie won himself. His effort came off the post in the 92nd minute, and with Barcelona committing a lot of players up the pitch, Jan Sommer's long ball into, I think it was Thuram in the end, won a 50-50 ball. It dropped back down to his feet, played in Denzel Dumfries with a poor pass. He ended up nicking the ball off the Barcelona defender and pushing the ball into the area for Acerbi, of all people, to tap the ball home with his right foot at the near post with a great flick finish in the 94th minute out of 95 to play, meaning we would go into extra time. Lamine Yamal, right at the end of normal time, had a toe-poked effort after he was found in behind Jan Sommer yet again there to deny him. Come extra time, it would be the one massive moment for Inter Milan. The build-up fantastic, into the feet of Thuram, who bullied Rajo off the ball, crossed the ball into the area along the ground to find Taremi with his back to goal, laid the ball back to Fratesi, took a touch, cleared it to his feet, and picked out the far corner in the 99th minute to give the advantage to Inter Milan. Cue the celebration, cue the scenes, and him climbing up the fence to go celebrate with the Inter Milan faithful. And then, I guess for me, the biggest moment of all, Lamine Yamal denied once again. Sommer, a full stretch save in the 115th minute, denied Lamine Yamal almost a certain goal, I thought, to that point in time. Lewandowski headed over the crossbar in extra time as well. He was quite wasted when he came on the pitch towards extra time. But all in all, Inter Milan securing that 4-3 victory thanks to Fratesi and thanks to a fantastic first half performance where they got in charge early, they took their early chances and really rode their luck come the second half. To be honest, Acerbi is the hero for me. That goal in the 94th minute with 1 minute left of stoppage time to play. The finish, superb with his right foot as well. And a poacher in the box. Who would have thought Acerbi had all players to come and equalise the game to send it into extra time. A bit of stats here. Inter Milan, 29% possession, 2.28 XG, 4 big chances created for their 4 goals. Barcelona, 71% possession, 2.81 XG, 6 big chances with the 22 shots on goal. It was a game which, again, Barcelona dominated possession. Pedri, fantastic. Frankie de Jong, fantastic. A bit on this Barcelona style. I think it's been a fantastic season for them, and all in all, they've performed very, very well, especially in this competition. Really have dominated alongside Liverpool in the league phase. Looked the strongest side coming into the knockout stages. And in that first leg, I think they'll be kicking themselves that they were not as good from the start, similar to this second leg here as well. The first leg, you think you're at home, make a quick start, make a frantic start, get on top of this Inter Milan side, put them under pressure. Doesn't mean you have to score first in particular, but conceding in the first minute and then the way they scored again from the set piece later on, I think that really hurt their chances. Going to the San Siro level is not where you want to be going into the second leg. You want an advantage, a 1 or 2 goal advantage to take to the San Siro and then potentially deal with some of these remarkable late moments, these winners, this belief that the San Siro crowd gives the Inter Milan side. So I think this tie for me is really lost in that first leg for Barcelona, but they're a young team, they're learning, they've got a lot of development to go. And I think the biggest miss for me in this game was obviously Gerard Martin and Garcia directly involved in some goals, but they really missed Balde in particular for me driving forward, balls into the box, his connection with Rafinha there on the left-hand side. Obviously, Lamine Yamal, his partnership on the right-hand side with Jules Koundé is fantastic as well. And as has been, I think, the theme for Barcelona across the last 2.5 seasons, whenever Jules Koundé is playing, he's fit, and he's playing to a high level, Barcelona look like an unbeatable side. He's got that physicality, he's got that speed to shut down defenders one-on-one, but more importantly, he is a threat going forward. Balde and Koundé have the opportunity to, like the Inter Milan fullbacks, get up the pitch, create width, and create chances for their wide players and for their central striker because of how skilled and talented they are in the football. Garcia and Martin are not the strongest players on the football, and it shows. Yes, they were both involved in goals, but they're not the greatest deliveries into the box, not the greatest attacking threats. So at times you saw Inter Milan go so compact as a 5. They were all inside of their own box. It allowed the balls out to Martin and Garcia because they knew they couldn't provide that elite level delivery. And we see it so many different times this season that Araujo has been, Koundé has been that player to drive Barcelona forward, to deliver balls into the box, to win the ball high up the pitch and deliver that ball into a Lewandowski or a Rafinha to score the goal. So Jules Koundé for me probably was the biggest miss. And in the two legs, it was the fullbacks that really made the difference. DeMarco in his 55, 60-minute spell in this second leg here kept Lamine Yamal relatively quiet. Obviously, he did what he wanted in this game, Lamine Yamal, but when Augusto came on, well, he was all at sea. DeMarco at least kept it respectable, and obviously Denzel Dumfries was out of this world. 2 assists in this game here to go along with his 2 goals and an assist in the first leg. He was single-handedly the difference maker, and I guess with the Ballon d'Or so open as it is, if Inter Milan go on to win their Champions League, well, he goes into contention all of a sudden because he's run in for this Champions League title, how important he has been for Inter Milan this season in terms of attacking output. It's just fantastic. As I said, they normally play very central, but it allows them a lot of space in the wide areas where Dumfries gets to the back post for headers, volleys at the back post, a threat with balls into the box. He is such a dangerous player. He's a complete player. Going forward and also tracking back defensively, has got the full package. And across 210 minutes in these two different games, he was the difference maker between these two sides. His defensive coverage and his work on Rafinha, especially in the second leg, and then in the first leg, his goals and his assisting play, which you saw here in the second leg, made the difference between the two sides. He was the clinical edge. He was the dangerous player that separated these two fantastic units. So I think a big loss for Barcelona was Jules Koundé, as well as Balde from fullback, because when they both play, they look like a different type of beast, Barcelona. Obviously, Pedri and De Jong were fantastic, control of the football. I've got some of Pedri's stats to share with you guys later on. Pedri obviously showing he's back to his best before he got ran into the ground that year coming out of COVID. A fresh Pedri, an injury-free Pedri, something to be worried about. Next season, Barcelona will be even stronger. But his combination with Frankie de Jong, who was a player that seemed on the out coming into this season, is just fantastic to see. The perfect yin and yang. When they need to drop in at times, they can do that, allowing the other player to go on and possess the football and drive into spaces. And you saw Pedri, in particular in the first half, with a few chances being created through his pressing, through his work on the football. The way he is often surrounded by 2 or 3 Inter Milan defenders, he'd still find a way to play the pass, to spread the play. Working in tight spaces is probably second to none right now in world football. And obviously Frankie de Jong, the vision, the want to get on the ball in tough situations, and the ability to get away from danger. I think both of them are just so fantastic, as when they're in a bit of trouble, they'll wriggle the way out with dribbling, or they'll find the right pass to spread the play and get Barcelona in the front foot. They were both fantastic. And obviously Lamine Yamal, the stats I'll show you in a little bit, that he was just superb. 8.7 match rating, 76% pass accuracy, with a little bit wasteful in the final third, to be honest with you, but tried to take the game on, made the key pass, 14 out of 20 successful dribbles. He just kept going at that Inter Milan backline. Augusto, Demarco, Bastoni, Mkhitaryan, they threw so many numbers at him. 2 or 3 at times were put on Lamine Yamal, but he continued to find a way past these guys. 23 out of 36 ground duels won. He was fouled 7 times in this game here. They wanted an early yellow card for Demarco and was never given from the referee. And I think that kept him in the game because he kept being able to foul Lamine Yamal and prevent his drive forward, because in this game, Ferran Torres quiet, Dani Olmo quiet, Rafinha quiet until his goal. It was literally Lamine Yamal or nothing in the first half, and in the second half, he was a little bit more quiet, but it's more of a team style of football. But you saw with Barcelona, whenever they found him, Inter Milan, all of a sudden, 3 or 4 defenders were magnetised to him. They all went close to him, trying to shut him down, and it meant he became more of a deferring type player in the second half. But you saw a few chances in this game, 5 shots on target, 2 or 3 of them required ridiculous summer saves to keep him quiet in this game here. Really dominated. The man of the match on SofaScore with the highest match rating. Pedri was superb as well, as I said, 87% pass accuracy, 4 key passes, 6 out of 9 ground duels won, 3 interceptions and 3 tackles. He kept Barcelona on the front foot. He kept them looking dangerous and in possession, and kept Inter Milan penned into their own penalty area for a lot of this game there. And then looking at Inter Milan, firstly, well, as I said, a lot of the team played injured. Thuram had the strapping on his hamstring. Lautaro Martinez really couldn't get out of first gear. Serbi looked like he was carrying a knock. Not at his, I know he's not quick as he did, but not at his most rapid best there. Mkhitaryan and Kalinoglu looked tired and leggy in the second half. Obviously, Barella fought his way through it, but he didn't look at his freshest either. DeMarcus came back from an injury, same as Denzel Dumfries, yet they still managed to get over the line. That was just the heart of this side here. You look at the average age, I think Barcelona, the average age is around 23 years old. If you're looking at Inter Milan, you're looking at 29s, 30s for their side there. A couple 36-year-olds, a couple over the age of 34. Barella and Bastoni probably one of the youngest in the side, and they're both pushing 30 as well. It was an experienced performance from a team that was in a Champions League final only 2 seasons ago. It took veteran experience. It took them sitting in and absorbing a lot of punches in that second half. And I used the analogy in the first leg, and I used it here in the second leg. It was like a boxer. They won the first 5 or 6 rounds in the fight, being the first half. But in the second half, they were willing to take a few blows, absorb a lot of attacking football from Barcelona, and then eventually delivered the perfect sucker punch being Acerbi's late equaliser and the Fratesi winner. It was perfectly played from Inter Milan. They were not at their best. They knew they didn't have the legs to run with Barcelona. So yes, they took a lot of damage. Yes, they looked like they had to go out late on, but they knew they had the ability to go and find a goal. And I think when I look at that equaliser for Acerbi, it comes from a long ball. You can criticise Barcelona for still committing so many numbers up the pitch and being so willing to go keep attacking despite having the advantage. There's that, but there's also Inter Milan and their style of football. And I've said it to high heavens, basically, so many times this season. Inter Milan, they defy what the preconception is with Serie A football clubs, that Italian clubs are all defensive and no attacking football. They're boring, they're basic. Inter Milan are one of the most attacking sides in world football. You see Bastoni and Bisek often in the area, getting on the ends of balls. Denzel Dumfries and Federico Di Marco. All their defenders commit up the pitch other than Acerbi. And in this game here, it was Acerbi who made the run into the box to score the goal. They are often committing numbers forward. They are willing to attack. And just because they met a Barcelona side they couldn't quite match in terms of possession and ball playing, they sat in for periods of time. But when they do go and attack and when they do play their football, whether in the counter-attack or in possession, there will be numbers in the box. There will be commitment high up the pitch. And it showed with Acerbi being the person in the box to get on the end of the Denzel Dumfries ball into the area to score that goal to equalise and take it into extra time. And then the big moment for me, Thuram, a man that had heaps of excuses to give up in this game and complain about fatigue and injury and no right really to win that 50-50 duel versus Araujo. But for the winning goal, he holds off Araujo, a fresher defender who just come on the pitch, played the ball in to Taremi, who came on just after half-time for that injured Lautaro Martinez. And then Taremi as well, the composure not to just shoot recklessly, to hold the ball up, play the ball into Fratesi, who took the touch and scored. It was just well worked throughout. Everyone did their job. I said in the first leg, I can't really individualise too many players because everyone from that Inter Milan side did their job when they needed to. Mkhitaryan across the two legs, being that double up on Lamine Yamal. Barella, the constant presser in midfield, chasing players in and around midfield and up the pitch. At the back, Bastoni, fantastic going forward, a rock defensive alongside Acerbi. We'll get to someone in a minute. He's the hero of this second leg. Every player in that park, Dumfries' goals and assists, DeMarco's ability to keep Lamine Yamal relatively quiet, they all played a fantastic job. And then the prime example of it is the skipper. Lautaro Martinez has had the greatest year compared to last season. And he came out in an interview saying he was crying post the first leg because the injury. He was too scared to miss his second leg. He got up for the second leg, passed the fitness test. I don't know how well he did, but passing the fitness test, but he passed it, got into the second leg here. Didn't look at his best, looked very, very sore, very slow. But when the chance fell to him early in the game, set up by Dumfries and DeMarco, he put the ball in the back of the net. And that's what a captain does. Runs around the touch portal, occupies centre halves, takes his chance and gets his side over the line. And that's what I'm saying. I look at every single Inter Milan player on that pitch there, alongside with the manager. They put their heart, soul, blood, sweat and tears on the pitch there to win that game of football. And they got the reward for it. Because when you've got two fantastically skilled sides, maybe Barcelona a little bit more skilled than the other, but it's who can hold their composure, who can hold their nerve, who's going to give it all on the pitch. And I'm not saying Barcelona didn't give it their all, but when I saw these Inter Milan players in extra time, looking like they were running through quicksand, sweating, Fratesi going down with blurred vision because of how much energy exuberated in the celebration and in the goal and the build-up and the work rate, that side gave everything they had to win this game of football, and they got the result. Let's go through some of the key players. Acerbi, that massive game-saving goal, 12 clearances, 2 interceptions and 2 tackles, is the rock of that defence, the grandfather of that back line, and always wins his duels, always wins his battles. And despite looking quite fatigued and very, very sore, he continued to be that rock at the back for me. Fratesi comes on in midfield and scores the match-winning goal. 3 out of 6 ground duels won, made the 2 clearances there as well. What he does so well is the ability to run around the park, be a physical presence, make the challenges, and then be that late runner into the box to score the goal. He's a prime example of an Inter Milan midfielder. Goes both ways, puts everything into every single challenge, and will come out in every duel, most likely on top, winning those duels. Denzel Dumfries, probably the player of the semi-final. 8 match rating, 2 assists, 4 key passes, 2 out of 3 accurate crosses, 6 out of 9 ground duels won, made the 2 tackles. Didn't get much of the football in terms of touches in this game here, but whenever he did, driving that side forward, as I said, he is the ultimate attacking fullback, gets so high up the pitch, but he'll be the first back to track back to close down his winger. And Rafinha, really nothing to say in this second leg. Really, really quiet, really, really poor in this one. I think that's down to Denzel Dumfries' physicality and positioning. He locates very well, he locks off space very well, and as such, Rafinha didn't have the impact we thought we'd see from him in the second leg. And obviously, man of the match in this second leg here is Jan Sommer. 8.1 match rating, 7 saves, preventing a goal in this one here, and 7 clearances as well. The biggest save, obviously, is the 115th minute save to deny Lamine Yamal fingertip stuff. Don't forget the Eric Garcia save as well. Eric Garcia had that headed opportunity, volleyed opportunity that he should have put in the back of the net. Somehow Sommer scrambled across his goal and clawed that ball off the line, whilst Barcelona were in dominant control of that football match. He had so many massive moments, making the comfortable saves, making the difficult saves. He did a lot, and I think many have underrated him, many have called him the ball-playing goalkeeper, but when you've got rid of Onana for around 50 million, signed him for 5 million, that is the greatest piece of work Inter Milan have done. One of the key differences from that side that made the Champions League final 2 years ago was Onana was there. This time around, it's Jan Sommer. And that heroics in their semi-final across both legs with some fantastic saves to deny Lamine Yamal, Rafinha and co. Absolutely deserved to be in the final. This is a player that was disregarded by Bayern. Never really got his big chance at a big team. Once Neuer was back, he was chucked to the side. But Inter Milan saw a talented player there that, let me make it clear, is not just a ball-playing goalkeeper. He's a shot stopper as well, and he showed that in this game here. 7 of the best saves you'll see. An absolutely heroic second leg performance to get his side over the line. Just superb. And I could go through every single player on his Inter Milan side, but I think, as I said, what separates them is a little bit of veteran experience and their willingness to commit every single part of their body in this game to win this game of football. As I said, at full time, they looked like they were sapped of energy. They gave everything they possibly could to go over the line here versus a much superior Barcelona skilled side. Let's not be stepping around the point here. We're going to be honest. Barcelona are the more skilled side. They're arguably the better side. But that's why when I came into this game, I say 1B, 1A. Because Inter Milan have got the fight. They've got the skill in some key areas of the park. But the way they match up, the way they defend and attack as a team, it equals up to what Barcelona have. So, in this game here, it was key moments. It was Sommer's big save. It was Lautaro's good finish. It was the way they were able to exploit the Barcelona high line that no team and no individual players have been able to do across this season. It's 11 defending. It's 11 attacking. And that often in these big games, these cup ties, is what matters. Individual players can do special things. We've seen that across the years. Ronaldo's, Messi's, and these type of players, great players, can do it in their own Thierry Henry's and the like. But more often than not, teams, 11 individuals working together will overpower individual talent. And I'm not saying Barcelona are just a team of individuals. They've got a lot of talent. They're a very good team. But in this game here, they weren't at their best. They weren't coherent as much as Inter Milan were. And that coherence and that teamwork and that 11-man mentality which Inter Milan had got them over the line. Because the skill of Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, Fermin, the names go on and on, is arguably better. Not even arguably, is clearly better than Inter Milan individuals. But when they were playing together, when they were defending as 11, when they got in the counter-attack as 11 players as well, they're just unstoppable. It is such a deserved final for Inter Milan. I've made the member video about them. We've talked on the podcast here around 2 years about them. They need this Champions League trophy to be respected amongst the European casual observers. If you don't watch Serie A week in, week out, you don't understand what this Inter Milan side is all about. As I said, they defy the normal stereotypes around Serie A football clubs. They're one of the most attacking, attractive styles of football. They play with 2 up top still. 2 centre forwards. They work so well for each other. Lautaro and Thuram up there as well. Yes, they've got 5 at the back, but their 2 centre backs push on and commit numbers forward. They've got 2 of the most attacking wing backs in world football. Yes, everyone was talking about Grimaldo and Frimpong last season. Well, now you should start talking about DeMarco and Denzel Dumfries and the way they commit their numbers forward. How talented they are on the ball as well. I keep saying it. DeMarco is probably a top 3 deliverer into the box and the crossing and corners and set plays. It's him, Trent, and Pedro Porro for me with some of the best deliveries in world football, the way they whip that ball into the box. You've got the older statesmen like Hakan Çalhanoğlu in the centre of the park alongside Henry Mkhitaryan, who are both beyond 30 years old, but work so well in that midfield there and really came out not really beaten by the Barcelona midfielders. A Barcelona midfielder that's so talented. Ballon d'Or, Pedri, elite level, Frankie de Jong, Dani Olmo, the 60 million signing. They held their own there. They might not have won the battle. They didn't lose the battle though. And this is the older statesman that could be easily run around or out-pressed or outworked. They matched him every step of the way. Barella, Mkhitaryan, and Hakan Çalhanoğlu is one of the best midfield trios in world football. I'd love to see, if they did get PSG in the final, how both those midfield threes would match up, because you've got the two most robust, two most hard-working, two most complete midfield trios in world football facing off if PSG make the final as well. But all in all, just a crazy game of football. I've waffled for way too long on this one here, but it deserves it. This game was crazy. Jan Sommer's late saves, ridiculous saves. You've got Rafinha thinking he won it late, Serbia equalising, Fratezi's winner, players giving their all, and both clubs, to be honest, deserving to make in the final. In the end, only one can get through, and that is congratulations to Inter Milan. A fantastic result for them, and for me, player of the game, Jan Sommer, and then player of the two legs has to be Denzel Dumfries. 5 goal contributions from a wing-back in a Champions League semi-final is just ridiculous. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section down below. Who were your player of the game? Who was your player across the two legs? Do you think Inter Milan deserved to make the semi-final? Let me know that in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, guys, smash a like on it. Subscribe to the Players channel. Press that post notification bell. Enjoy tonight's other semi-final, Arsenal and PSG. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.